Okay, so like Danny said, I am self-taught in terms of social media. I remember it was 7 years ago on Purim was the first time I heard about Facebook. And I remember distinctly sitting at this meal hearing some college kids talking about this new site, Facebook, which at that point in my mind was just a book that we got when we got to college. And it was sort of this popularity contest she described. You just kept getting more friends and adding more friends. And I wasn't understanding anything she was talking about. I was so confused. And I remember thinking, like, so this is what old feels like. Like, this is like, I've missed this now. Like, this is a college thing, and this is past my time, and I'm officially out of it. And then a few months later, I got a Facebook account for work. And then that job was kind of going nowhere, and I decided that I was just going to quit that job and get started with my own vision and my own dream. And so I wanted to give you a little history and background about why I got started with Jew in the City, because the first thing I'm going to tell you for the presentation is that if you're on social media, it's all about mission. You have to have a clear mission as to why you're opening up your mouth or your fingers and talking in the first place. So this is my story. I was raised as a proud secular Jew. My great-grandparents came to America to pursue the American dream from Eastern Europe, like probably many other people's families. And I had pretty much everything in life that's supposed to make you happy. You know, close friends, family, my father's a doctor, just kind of all the good things in life. And when I was 8 years old, a girl in the grade above me was murdered by her father. And sort of this happy, stable life that my parents had raised me in was suddenly shattered. And I started to realize that there were things that my parents' love and my parents' protection and their money and their time couldn't save me from and couldn't protect me from, and that there were all these bad things that could get to you in life and no guarantees. And I started worrying what was going to happen to me after I was gone. And that was really scary, sort of thinking about eternity and what comes after this world. But what I realized was even before that was a bigger problem, which was, what about this world? What do I do now? Like, what is my purpose here before I'm gone? And I turned to my parents, assuming they must have an answer because, well, A, I was 8 years old and I assumed they knew everything at that point. And B, I figured, how could you have a kid and not know what you're doing here yourself? Because, like, what happens the day they ask you, like, why am I here? Not where did I come from, but why did I come from? And so I asked them very casually around 8 years old, and they had nothing. And it was shocking and it was disappointing. And then I turned to other people in my life, teachers, relatives, friends, and also no one had anything useful to share with me, and it was a terrifying discovery to make. And so for about 8 years, I sort of suffered with on and off insomnia and minor panic attacks. And I was still very much engaged in the world as long as I was distracted from that minor point about having a purposeful existence. I was totally happy, did well in school, had good friends, I laughed even. Whenever my mind would come back to that place of like, wait, Allison, nothing you're doing will last, nothing here is adding up, I would sort of get to that bad place again. And it was always this feeling like I must have more to me. And I never thought to look at my own heritage. That's the thing. In my mind, I was raised, my earliest memories of my father talking about religious Jews, he would say to us, they're dirty, they're smelly, they're ignorant, and they can't speak English. So much for Ahavas Yisrael and, you know, loving your fellow Jew. He had taken care of some Hasidic patients while he was training to be a doctor. And this was his experiences with these particular people, but in my mind, this was all Orthodox Jews. And I never had any personal interactions. And so the, you know, things that I saw in the media, the headlines and, you know, what I was seeing in popular TV and books and movies was what I based my ideas on. And then accidentally, I met an Orthodox Jew. I met a modern Orthodox teacher when I was 16. And he wasn't smelly or dirty, and he didn't subjugate his wife, and he wasn't backwards. And I saw that he was kind of just a normal guy like me, but living a more meaningful existence. And so I started to take on observances myself, and I was met with a lot of backlash from my family and friends, like, don't become one of them, you're going to have 10 children, you'll be subjugated, you'll have to dress frumpy, like sort of all the stereotypes that people say about Orthodox Jews. And I did it anyway. And I kind of just wanted to get like this information out to the world. First about Jewish knowledge, kind of like take a chance to learn more about your heritage, you know, maybe there's some meaning to it. But it was about 7 years ago where I had my aha moment that Jew in the City got started. I was interviewed by a Spanish journalist. She was living in Brooklyn for a while, and she was noticing all these Orthodox people around, and she was kind of, you know, found it curious because they don't have so many Jews in Spain because, hello lady, you kicked us out 500 years ago, like what do you expect? So she posted on Craigslist, will someone sit down and do an interview with me? I answered her response. We spoke for 3 hours, and everything that she was assuming that I was going to be like meek and, you know, just all of the stereotypes that she had were completely wrong. And as she left our apartment, I said to my husband, we're doing the worst job at marketing, like of PR, the world doesn't really know who we are, they don't really understand what we're about. And I realized that people's opinions are being defined by the headlines and by popular media, and you never hear from the people themselves. And because the group like Orthodox Jews are sort of living in their own space and not interacting with most people in the world, there's a small number of us who are living in, you know, a small amount of cities, and so there's no interaction. And so then I thought, well, how can I get this message out there? And so people think that Jew in the City is based on another show with the word city in it. So the truth is that I actually copied Jew in the City from a show called Lonely Girl 15. You guys heard of Lonely Girl 15 from YouTube? So this is one of the first scripted YouTube shows out there. People thought at first that it was just a 16-year-old girl talking to her webcam. And she'd be like, my homeworks are boring, and my parents are really strict, and I like this boy. But what I saw was that through the power of the screen, she was getting her personality out to the world. And people were tuning in, and they felt like they knew her. And I realized that's kind of the power that the screen has for celebrities in general. That like we hear, do you hear she's pregnant? Oh, she's getting divorced? What, she's getting married? Like we don't know these celebrities, but because we've seen them through the screen, we feel a connection to them automatically. And the thing is that, you know, I actually spent my childhood like waiting to become famous. Like I thought like it was just a matter of time before like some talent scout discovered me, which I look back now and I think sounds completely insane. And I'm admitting it publicly now, but because they never found me, there was now an opportunity where I could broadcast myself, and that's what YouTube was. And so I thought, well, if Lonely Girl is a 15-year-old girl who's lonely, what am I? I'm a Jew who lives in the city, and thus Jew in the City was born. So it started off with a very clear mission. I wanted to put my life out there to people and no longer let, you know, the other stories define, you know, what the image of Orthodox Jews were, but put it in my own words and talk about what my experiences were and sort of debunk the myths that people believed. So let me just go down here on my, okay, one second. I'm not doing my PowerPoints at all. Sorry. All right, that's the name of the title. I'm just going to show you now our first video here. So this is maybe video number 3.
Dear Jew in the City, I've been wondering this for a while, but never had a way to find out for sure. You know that thing that people say about Orthodox Jews and the hole in the sheet? Is that really true? Thanks to your help, Rachel from Savannah. No, Rachel, the whole thing is a complete mess. For some reason, people are under the impression that Orthodox Jews live repressed lives, and that a husband and wife are only allowed to be together in order to procreate. While there are other religions out there that consider sex a sin and value lifelong celibacy, Judaism definitely is not one of them. In fact, knowing some of the biblical sins is considered one of the holiest of all mitzvahs when done in accordance with Jewish law.
That's because Judaism doesn't try to escape from the physical world.
What we do instead is elevate the physical by infusing it with kedusha or holiness. Now that's holiness in the sacred sense, not the whole sense. What that means in practical terms is that nearly everything in the world, no matter how physical it seems, has the possibility of being used for a spiritual purpose. What's even cooler is that the more potential something has to be animalistic or lowly, the more potential it has to reach the highest heights of spirituality. Take eating, for instance. It can either be a totally physical act, where you scarf down your food, rip it apart, and gorge yourself, or you can infuse your eating with spirituality by making a blessing before you eat, savoring each bite as you eat it, and having in mind that the food that you consume is being used to fuel your body so that you have energy to fulfill your purpose in this world. Now, I have been holding out on you just a bit. There actually is something with the hole in it, and it's probably where the hole in the sheet myth got its start. Exhibit A, tzitzis, or a prayer shawl that Jewish men wear under their shirts in order to remind them to perform the commandments. What probably happened is someone once saw a pair of these hanging from the clothing line of an Orthodox family. He assumed it was used in the bedroom, and threw a root from there. Sincerely yours, Jew in the City.
Okay, so, and what you'll see there, so instead of, let me just close this here. Let me bring up my PowerPoint. Instead of having like ads that are placed into the videos by a company that are built in forever. We do those, if you saw an annotation by the wig company that I'm wearing, that's the brand that I support. So we use annotations actually built in and links underneath it, and we get paid every month to, you know, different modest dresses that I wear, or, you know, you have to sort of figure out what your brand is and what your followers are interested in, you know, sort of gaining from you, and then you can sort of turn that into some revenue. Okay, so, okay. So I started off on YouTube first, and then I had already dabbled a little bit on Facebook, even though I thought that I'd missed that boat, and I felt like I needed to get onto Facebook. And while YouTube, I believe, is still the best way to get a personality out there the most, because it really does have that feeling of connection, with Facebook you can also get yourself out there in terms of stuff you're going through, take pictures, you know, sort of narrate it. It's a way to bring people into your life, into what you're doing, and it's a way to really connect them. Twitter is a little bit harder. I actually got onto Twitter really, the idea of sort of limiting myself to 140 characters as a verbose Jewish woman was kind of a challenging thing, but everyone kept saying, get on Twitter, start tweeting, and I forced myself to, and I got the hang of Twitter as well at a certain point. Okay. All right, so I made up, so here's the thing, like, I never went to like social media school. I don't know if there is social media school. Really, I just sort of got onto Facebook and Twitter and started trying things out, and it seemed to work. So right now we're up to, I think, about 6,700 Facebook fans, over 3,000 Twitter followers, and I just sort of went back and tried to see like what am I doing that's working, and tried to, you know, put it into some categories for you. So my natural setting is on share as a person. That's just kind of the kind of person that I am. I actually have to sort of like hold myself back to not say everything that I'm thinking, which my husband tries to encourage me to do more often. And I think people that are more sharing type of people do well on social media, because there's actually a case study that I included that was done by a marketing company on the social media that I was doing about making your brand personal. And I would say that's probably one of the biggest tips that I could give you, to somehow like give over something about yourself and sort of, you know, while you're giving over your mission. All right, so the do's and don'ts of social media. Okay. So number one, have a clearly defined mission. So Jew in the City's mission is breaking down misconceptions about religious Jews and offering a humorous, meaningful look into Orthodox Judaism. So know what you're doing there. Know why. Whatever your company, your organization, whatever reason that you're talking or you're writing, you're communicating. There are some people that are on social media and they're like, eating yogurt right now, and I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't, like, so basically like a celebrity can tell us, you know, I'm eating yogurt right now, or I'm doing something stupid right now. It'll get retweeted and shared and liked a million times because they're a celebrity. So you're not a celebrity. And so you need to say something like meaningful or useful to, if you're gonna bother putting anything out there, make it count. Make it something that people, that it will, you know, get some sort of reaction. Put your face on your social media like this. Even if you're part of an organization, like Jew in the City is, you know, a mission, it's an organization, but I've made it very personal. So there's my picture on the Facebook page. It's the logo and my picture. And I find that for other Jewish organizations that are just sort of like the website or the organization without knowing who's updating, it feels very detached. I don't know who I'm hearing from. I don't know who's talking to me. So if your organization or your thing allows for it, I think it makes it much more connectable, because the people that are following you can get a sense of who they're hearing from, and they're hearing from the same person in and out. Because if it's not your face on that picture there, then maybe they're just switching in and out different people, and just they hired one social media person and they pulled the person out. If they get to know you and get to like you and create a relationship with you, that's a huge part of selling your mission, is making that personal connection. And some companies have done this actually. I've seen, like, I think Gap and Banana Republic will actually tell you like who's tweeting while they're tweeting. They'll have initials of people. But I think that's really an important thing that organizations need to learn from as well, that connect, you know, people to people. Okay, so and make it personal. So find ways to sort of, you know, make updates that are somehow connected to your life, or something that you're doing, something you're thinking about. Again, I think people sell people on missions and causes. Cause them to emote. So in terms of saying something that counts, if you would say something in real life that would make people smile, that would make them laugh, that would inspire them, that would sort of give them those like fuzzy feelings of, if you can do that in real life, it will probably work on social media. If you can evoke some sort of emotion, some sort of feeling from them, that's the sort of thing that's going to make them want to share what you're writing about, want to make them like it. People generally like things when they like things. Do giveaways. So this is something that we got started with a few months ago. I think I was sort of holding off at first because, I don't know, it seemed kind of annoying. Officially, Facebook's policy is that you're not supposed to do that share picture thing and have your friend like it and share it. And so originally we were doing like this Rafflecopter thing, and I found it was not helping our likes go up at all. And then I was told by someone who knows someone that works at Facebook that they're not actually checking, they're not actually so strict about this share the picture, like the picture Facebook contest, and everyone seems to be doing it. And we've done some giveaways recently where I'll get a dress from a company, I'll take a cute picture of myself posing in it, and then the fans start liking it, and we're getting like hundreds of fans in just like a week, that are finding out about our cause and our mission, and the vast majority are staying on. So you have to sort of figure out like what products could be in line with whatever you're doing. It's best to have some connection to what your fans might be into, but the giveaways really work in terms of increasing your likes. You should make policies about the favors that you'll do for other people in terms of your Facebook page. That is, as you're following and as you grow, as you get more followers, you're going to sort of find people coming out of the woodworks. Hey, can you post this for me? Hey, would you mind sharing my, this or that? And so it's best to have a clear sort of understanding beforehand. Oh, I'm sorry, our policy is to only share X, or we only share this type of thing. And that way you won't offend the person if you sort of have this built-in policy. It's not you, it's us, If you start sort of, and I sort of found the easiest thing is to just say, we don't share just blogs or videos or whatever it is. If it's a strategic sharing thing that you think sharing from this person could be good for your followers, and then they'll share your thing on their thing, that's something to consider. But once you start allowing to share your friend's blog post, then it's much harder to say to someone else, oh, well, we shared that, but not this. Then it starts to get more personal. Okay. Facebook right now is actually making it a lot harder to get to your fans. It's very upsetting. I feel like in the last couple weeks, especially even since I wrote this talk, I feel like the volume button on Facebook has gone way down. Like it was sort of talking to the fans, the amount of likes and responses and interactiveness that I was getting before. It's like Facebook just took the volume and zzz. And so one of the best things that's being shared right now are pictures. Meaning that the articles that you're linking to, Facebook is barely putting out there. I told you I don't really do so much outside research, but I did do some research. Where was this thing that I saw here? I can't even find it now. Basically, it was saying that Facebook is a public company now, and they're trying to make a certain amount of revenue from ads, and they've basically turned business pages now into promote your page with this ad, only $30, to get your post out there. Are you kidding me, Facebook? So you have to, we'll have to find new tricks to get around this. What I'm finding now, the links are not showing up as much, and people don't like to click to links, but if you include a nice long excerpt with your blog post that you're trying to link to, they might see that visually and then more likely to link to that. So a recent thing that I posted, that got like 300 likes in a matter of, 3 days or something, because I included a nice long excerpt from that. Okay. The don'ts. Okay, so as I said before, don't say dull things. Only celebrities can say nothing and have people retweet it and get so excited. Hi, you breathed. Hi, you hiccuped. You're not that famous. And then don't tell people to like something. It's so annoying. Please like this status. Please share this. I'll sometimes tell people, we're about to release this video. Who's gonna share it once we do? Or click like if you're going to share. I didn't tell them you have to click like. I'm just curious if you will share our video. Show me by clicking a like. But the more that I get told by someone to like something, I'm like, I will not. I'm like my children. So the reverse psychology doesn't work. You maybe tell them don't like this, then they will. So yeah. And it just sort of, it feels so needy. Like, like my page, like my friend's page. Okay. So now I just pulled some slides and tweets for you of things that I think worked. So here's some examples of how we educated people about our mission. That's the first thing. If you have a mission, let them know what your mission is. Let them know Okay, so our mission is showing Orthodox Jews in a positive light. 2 heroes in Chicago saved several people after a horrible car accident. The article does not indicate that these men are Orthodox, because the reporter probably didn't know. Religious only seems to be relevant when an Orthodox Jew does something bad. But the Torah commands us not to stand idly by our neighbor's blood. So this is just sort of like getting our fans to realize that a lot of the headlines that they're seeing about Orthodox Jews are about the people that steal from the government and molest children, and when Orthodox Jews do nice things like save lives, somehow that isn't mentioned in the story. And this sort of like riles people up. 133 likes, 15 shares. I'm educating them about what modesty can look like. People usually assume modesty in Orthodoxy is frumpy, so I'm giving Victoria Beckham here as an example. Whenever you can have a celebrity tie-in, celebrities usually sell things better. So here I'm just showing Victoria Beckham's outfit. I'd say any Orthodox woman could wear this as well. People went wild over this post. Okay. And so, you know, mention Modern Family. There's a producer on Modern Family is an Orthodox woman. Again, it's a popular media reference, people like that. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead to the next. Okay. All right, so this is a thing where I educated about the mission, but I caused people to feel evocative, and almost 300 shares, 300 likes, you know, 16 shares. I was talking about this child molester, Nehemiah Weberman, unfortunately from the Orthodox community, and I talked about taking a stand, that we have to stand up against these people and not just sort of silently let them do bad things. And that really riled people up, that fired them up. They were already in line with this mission, and this is the sort of thing that if you stood up in front of a room and said, we must speak out against child molesters and, you know, not stand quietly by, people would, you know, applaud you. And so that's what they did on, you know, for this post. They were excited by it. And you want to make your followers and fans feel part of the cause. So whatever your mission is, you need to kind of bring them in and make them feel like they're, you know, part of it as well. So we did a fundraiser, you know, crowdfunding for a new website. We raised more than we needed to. We did it ahead of time. And I just, you know, congratulated the fans. I told them, you know, you're why we're doing this. And again, it's sort of making them feel like they're helping this mission to succeed. Okay. Sharing success stories about your organization. This is, again, sort of that emotive type of thing. When your cause is going well, when whatever you're hoping to accomplish is happening, give the feedback to your fans. Let them know that your organization is working and it's touching these lives. People love the person. Anecdotes, like life is really just about anecdotes, like inspirational anecdotes that when one person was touched and their life was changed in that moment, that stuff gets people. It can brighten their day. It leaves them thinking about it, and it gets them liking your page. And when they like it and share it, more people are finding out about your mission. And so I'm giving an update about a girl, you know, who started learning more after watching our videos, and someone decided to go to Israel, and I'm just, you know, I'm showing them that our videos are working, our mission is working. Hi, I'm a Mormon, and only a mediocre one at that. You're wonderful, and so is observant Judaism. I learned a lot from Jew in the city. I pass along to others. May God bless you and yours in Israel. And that just sort of, I think, gave people those fuzzies, like, wow, we're just connecting different types of people, and, you know, that's kind of one of those universal feelings of kind of like a bigger cause, and people like that. Okay. This post was very successful. It's both a picture and a success story update. It's a guy putting on tefillin for the first time, who connects to Jew in the city. 206 likes for this one. So again, think the more that you can sort of take these different ideas and do them at the same time, celebrity connection plus a picture plus something evocative or emotive, like that would be like a really selling thing. Okay, what else? So, okay. You can also inspire your people with something that's connected to your mission, but not exactly connected to your mission. It doesn't have to be specifically how your organization or cause has been inspirational today, but if it at least is somehow on point, people just like being inspired. They like reading something and just feeling, you know, a little bit brighter that day, and then it's going to get them to like and share it. So this is something that people really loved. 355 likes. So I was overhearing my kids. So this is both a personal anecdote, it's connected to my mission, and it sort of left them inspired. My kids were playing, And my son is 4, my daughter is 7, and they were going to be pirates. And my son said to my daughter, "You can't be a pirate, you're a girl." And she said, "Not true, yes I can. And girls make great pirates." And then my other daughter chimed in, she said, "But pirates are kind of bad, they hurt people, so maybe we should be mitzvah pirates, so let's sail around the world and help people." And so I connected to the mission. I said, you know, 15 years ago when I started down this road of orthodoxy, people told me, don't do it. Save yourself from that horrible, you know, cult and they're going to subjugate you. And I said, it's such a wonderful feeling to see my Orthodox raised daughter having so much self-confidence, standing up to her misogynistic brother, telling him, yes, I can. And then everyone loved the mitzvah pirate thing. So I had a picture. So because of the image that got shared, it was a personal insight into my life. It was kind of on point with the mission, even though it wasn't exactly Jew in the City's mission. And I think it put a lot of smiles on people's faces. And it was just a successful post of combining a lot of those points. Okay, so it was a really dreary winter, really dark, really, it was a difficult, cold winter this year. And I saw the flowers on my table before Shabbos, and the house was getting ready for Shabbos, and I was sort of like detecting like a sign of life, and Tu B'Shvat was coming, and everybody loves, you know, like trees and life in the middle of the winter. We celebrate Tu B'Shvat in the midst of winter, because it's the day when new sap starts to rise in the trees. Even though the world feels bleak and cold, Tu B'Shvat reminds us that in the midst of lifelessness, new life is emerging. Tu B'Shvat is about hope, and the Jewish people are about hope. No matter how bad things get, we have hope for better days ahead. And again, it's sort of this like nice, uplifting thing. Not exactly Jew in the City's mission, but it's a picture, it inspires them. And again, people shared it like crazy. 31 shares for that post. Okay. I'll give you just another example. I did a similar, I kind of like plagiarized for myself later with a similar idea, but I didn't do a picture. It got less shares. So this is sort of an example of if you have a nice image to go along with it, your words of inspiration or your personal touch of something in your life is going to go further for people. You can just be funny and clever. Especially I always like self-deprecation as much as possible. Because it's such a like self-promotionally medium, if you can find ways to self-deprecate, it makes you less obnoxious sounding, I think. Makes you less full of yourself sounding. And it makes people smile. And if they smile, they're likely to click the like button. My 4-year-old son, I don't want to grow up. Why not? Because then I'll have to do lots of work. That's true, but you can also eat lots of ice cream. With a big smile, I want to grow up. Or not, so you can eat as much ice cream as you want when you're grown up. Okay. My 7-year-old daughter, Mommy, is tomorrow still Christmas? Me, no, it's only a one-day Yontif. Like, you know, for Jewish holidays, we have 2 days of it, but I put it in Jewish term. One update I don't have here. I said, this is what's raising an Orthodox Jewish child. Mommy, what's church? Oh, it's like Jewish shul. I'm sorry, it's Christian shul, I told her. I said, this is just sort of like, you know, it was sort of funny words of children, and it put a smile on people's face. It was shared a lot. Okay. Woohoo, our video count is now over 1 million, and only half of them came from my mother. So it was both telling people, hey, we're successful, we're getting out there, we're on the way up. But just so it didn't sound so obnoxious, and my mother only watches a third of the videos, not all, only half of them. So. Okay. Celebrity connection. Wait, what's this? Okay. Oh, I'll do one more. I'm going to a speaking engagement. My fans are following, you know, at the different speaking engagements that I do. I'm at the Canadian border, and they say, what are you here for? What do you do, ma'am? And one of my biggest challenges is sort of describing, like, what the heck Jew in the City is. Am I a speaker? Am I a blogger? Am I a vlogger? I don't even know. And I'm thinking, like, oh, dear Lord, how do I briefly explain this to a crossing, you know, border agent? I said, I'm an inspirational speaker like Tony Robbins. Yeah, like the female Jewish version of that. So, okay, celeb connection. So we did this All-Stars video with a bunch of Orthodox celebrities. So I'm filming Lieberman. I post the picture. So that was a lot of interest and excitement. And I told an anecdote about how I was keeping Senator Lieberman's chair warm for him before he came into the office. And as I was interviewing him, I said, by the way, I was sitting in your chair before just to give it a try. He said, you want a connection to politics? I'm on my way out. I can help you get in. I said, I'll stick to Jewish outreach for now. But anyway, it was sort of like a funny story, a little bit of an inside look behind the scenes before we filmed. We had the picture afterwards. And again, combining those different elements, and it got a big share. Tamir Goodman, the first Orthodox professional basketball player. Again, a picture that was shared widely. Oh, okay. is you can find mainstream media articles connected to your mission. If it's in the news right now and it's about ecology, the environment, or some sort of educational issue, and it's in the news, it's happening right now, gun rights, find a way to bring your mission and the news together because it's on people's minds. They're more likely to share it. So there was a Hasidic wedding that happened, one of the most probably extreme sects of the Orthodox world. And all the pictures they showed in the media was of the bride's face covered in an opaque veil. And for a couple of the ceremonies in these circles, they do that. But articles were coming out saying that she was the faceless bride. Her face was never allowed to be shown. And people were actually believing that this was true. So I was trying to explain this isn't happening, and despite what the news is saying. And then once I got this out there, fans started sending me pictures from the wedding. And we got a picture of her face. And this was not in any mainstream media articles. So this was shared like, what, 151 shares. We had another picture that I posted. It had like over 400 shares. And again, it was very topical. There was actually a woman on Twitter who was, saying, what a horrible religion, this bride's face will never see the light of day. I said, that's not true, here's her face. And she said, how did this picture get out there? It will never happen again. I said, actually, I have 3 more. And she said, oh, mazel tov, I didn't know. So it was sort of like this nice feeling of, using this medium to achieve the mission, to change people's minds, to, okay. Okay, is that the end of it? Okay, all right. I have more examples that you can read in your packets, but this is sort of again, whenever you can kind of combine these different ideas, current events, staying on mission, including a picture, making it funny or self-deprecative, and bringing it somehow into your life or making it personal. I think it's going to help your likes and your shares. Just one thing, as Facebook is kind of like making it harder to get the message out there. I did see that they said the best time to post is between 8 p.m. and 7 a.m. 14% higher interaction rate. I have no idea. There are insomniacs on Facebook, apparently.
8 a.m. and 7 p.m.
8 p.m. to 7 p.m. gets a 14% higher share rate. 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. 8 p.m. to 7 a.m.
New York time.
Oh, what? New York time. New York time. In the same time zone, exactly. They said Saturday and Sunday are the days that most people are on social media, but they found that releasing blog posts on Thursdays, for some reason, is a better day for sharing. Incidentally, we happen to do that just because I usually just procrastinate the whole week, and I'm like, shoot, it's Thursday, I have to put something up by now. Unfortunately, I'm at the feeling right now, we're closing in on 7,000 fans soon. I'm so annoyed with Facebook's need to want to get us to pay for our, shares and likes and exposure that I'm already thinking about like where to go next and trying to move the community that we have to another location. But in the meantime, if you can use some of these tips, it will work. Unfortunately, it's not working as well as it used to, and that's just Mark Zuckerberg's whatever. But if you post on these times, if you follow these tips, hopefully you'll get at least as much bang for your Facebook buck without spending a buck. So, okay, all right. Any questions? Yeah.
First off, just 2 points. A, I agree with you. I think Facebook's eventually going to charge for membership.
Yeah.
It's going to be disrupted. That's what I think. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Free and always will be, except for.
That's what I already have at the premium. I put it in.
Right.
It does. Second off, how do you generate more likes? And what is? How do you? I know organizations buy likes.
Yeah.
Do you know how to explain
buy likes?
Yeah.
Oh, so I've never done that before. I feel like anytime you can see like paid I saw an organization took a video. They had a celebrity in it, but it wasn't particularly interesting, and I think they were hoping it was going to go viral, and then it didn't. And then
likes for your page, not for
for posts. I don't know. I guess I find it to be very, disingenuous. And I saw a page that only had like a few thousand likes at one point, and they were definitely behind us, like not that long ago, and now they're like up to like 1 million. And I don't know. It's just like really, when you work for something, like when you're the kid working in class, and then like the kid next to you is cheating, it just feels very, I don't know, sort of makes your work feel. Meaning, like I think you're not going to get the same interactiveness on your posts when you have like fake people or bot people. They're just not going to respond to your content. I think when you have people that are actually in your mission, like the fact that we're doing giveaways for cute modest dresses is because we have people that like cute modest dresses. So that's sort of like bringing more followers into our cause. We're still staying on mission even as we're giving away products. I found giveaways to be one of the best ways, and I think it happens organically by sharing great content. It's just getting it out there. Can you cheat and buy likes? Certainly you can, but I don't think the page is going to have the same, like they're showing you how many people are interacting with your post. That's one of the things. How many active users?
I think it makes it look more popular and more like, oh, I want to like this as well.
I know, but like, how many likes, how much interactions is the page getting? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's part of the thing. It's not just having fans on the page or likes on the page, but it's seeing that the content is being shared and liked and commented on. And if it's fake people in India or wherever they're pulling these people from, your page is not going to. It's going to have a fake feeling to it, basically. And then your brand is going to feel fake, and then your mission is going to feel fake, and then you're going to be fake. So I don't know. I feel pretty. I don't know. Like it takes time. When we first put our first YouTube video out there, like. Again, the child that was waiting to be discovered, I thought like, oh, it's just a matter, I'll just put the video out there, it'll go viral. Like, I read about viral videos all the time. And I was like literally like checking back like every hour, like, are we famous yet? Are we famous yet? And then like at a certain point I was like, duh. Like, and I think that's sort of part of growing the brand is having patience and putting the work in. You have to put the effort in, you have to have the patience. And
there's organizations that what's it called, guns, that wasn't just go viral. There's like organizations or company behind that make it go viral, and there's like a strategy to that.
Sure. Look, so if you can afford a marketing company to make your page go viral, then sure, go for it. I'm not sure if part of that package is buying likes as part of it, but I don't know. I've always believed in like the good old-fashioned, kind of work and effort and patience. And the thing is that yes, you're building a certain image by having these platforms, which is why I have a low number of Twitter people that I follow. I was told by like a publisher, I'm working on a book now, that like have more people that follow you than you follow back. So I'm a little bit of a Twitter snob like that. I just don't do a lot of following. Yes, it does have a certain amount, but as you organically build your fans, you're getting your message out to people in an organic way, and I don't know. Again, I guess the person can go that route, but like if people start to like even sniff or detect the slightest bit of like fraudulence or dishonesty in it, I think it just sort of lowers things. So.
Do you use Instagram at all?
I do. Most of the time I'm just like sitting in my sweats blogging or like answering emails, so like there's not so many interesting things to take pictures of, but like whenever I do go anywhere besides carpool, like anywhere interesting for like a speaking engagement, my two looks are basically like on the couch in sweats looking like a mess, or fabulous for an event. So I usually take those pictures. So yeah, no, and Instagram is actually a nice following and a nice group, and I'm seeing that those posts are getting out freely. No one's controlling the and that's yeah.
One of the things that's really interesting about what you're doing is that you're using your personal brand and your professional brand and sort of bringing them together very much. So one of the things that I've sort of struggled with that and trying to keep them separate, right? And sort of, there's a mission. It's not about me. It's about this thing that we're trying to accomplish. And there are a whole lot of other people who are trying to accomplish it. Don't take my word for it. Let's So, like, what do you think about?
So here's the thing: you can cite studies and you can do articles in the news about your cause, but I think ultimately people are going to get into the cause because they're into you. I think you personalize it. If you have passion about the environment and you can connect with these people through Facebook and Twitter, YouTube, whatever it is, why you care about this so much? Why? There's a saying from the sages: the words that come from the heart enter the heart. If you can speak with your heart and put that stuff inside of you onto the page there, you're going to get into them. You're going to inspire them. They're going to want to share it. They're going to want to become more active in this cause. And so I think the two actually have to be connected. And you are environmentalist, and this is what an environmentalist life looks like. And so yes, these are tips how you can add it into your life, but this is what my life as an environment. People like an inside look into what your life looks like. Tell me how I'm going to manage. I have 4 kids. There's always dishes to be done. We prefer paper. Tell me how I can, I've talked to you about this yesterday. Tell me how do you manage it? Because like right now there's like a giant hole in the ozone layer above our home because we're, we're just trying to cope with, you know, lots of small children. But tell me how you're managing. Show me an inside look into how it's happening in your life. People connect with stories. People connect with people, you know?
So you don't think, like, I just always feel like I have avoided doing that because I feel like it makes you, like, it seem illegitimate, like it's, you know, like it's all about me, and I don't.
So you talk about the cause, you talk about why it's important, you talk about, you have to have different types of posts, and you know, different styles, and educate them about, you know, this many landfills every year are filling up, and you know, in 20 years, everyone will be dead. Like whatever's happening, I'm saying wherever we're headed, educate, and do pictures as you do that, and make it funny. But then if there's the personal touch to it, this is how environmentalism looks to me. This is how I experience it. Because otherwise I could just, like, I don't know, read like just an article or just like factoid somewhere. If you can bring the personal touch into it, it's gonna, again, people connect with people.
And do you have your own Facebook profile that you keep separate?
I do. And I use that to post the things I don't want to post on Jewel in the City sometimes. Like when I need to do a favor for someone, I'm like, well, our policy isn't there, but I'll put it on this thing. I'm not sure why I have it. I don't know. To talk to real people, I have my fans and my real life people in different categories. Anyone from Jewel in the City that friends me, I put into the no photo category. So when I post, you know, personal pictures of my life, I make it personal, but I also have my boundaries. It's another thing. Make it personal, but no, like, protect your children, you know, don't tell them where you live, like, it's just things like that. So make it personal, but not too personal. So yeah, the personal page, I use it a little bit, Jewel in the City like. What I found is interesting, actually. I've connected with, you know, I have a long history of Jewish contacts and friends from my whole life, camp school, Hebrew school, and so I will post Jewel in the City articles there. And I even have actually like non-Jewish friends from high school, like Hindu friends, that are like, wow, that was an amazing post. I'm like, you're reading my post about like Hashem, like weird. But what I found is that it does get out to your network. So there is actually something good about that, because they didn't like Jewel in the City until they happened to see my post as my friend, and then they were, something that I said moved them, something that I wrote connected with them, and they hopped over to the Jewel in the City page. They started following the blog. They got on a mission with a brand. And so there is some use like that, but I try not to make my personal page like all about the cause, just like a little bit.
Can I just quickly build on it? I think the social media marketing is different from my personal experience.
Yeah.
It's different from regular marketing, is because most people, most followers still maintain this as personal space. So most people have their personal pages and personal accounts up. So while you may be introverted, you know, leader of your organization, so you don't want to post a picture of your kitchen.
Right.
I think people just naturally would respond to that more, and mixing in sort of your mission with personal aspects of your life just works, because again, most of your followers are there not to promote the mission of the organization, but to have it as their personal space. And so having that mix of personal and business just speaks to people more. And if you only, you know, I have friend requests from people who, it's my personal, you know, John Smith page, but really they just keep pushing their business. It's just boring, and it feels like spam, and you really don't, as a person, I don't respond to that. So I think that's part of what you're saying. What I found works for me, pushing my mission on my Facebook page for exactly that reason. And people who follow me, like I've arrived to Israel and I posted a picture, you know, panoramic picture of Jerusalem. I got gazillion likes, but that mixes in with what I use my page for, which is frankly at this point, you know, advancing my mission, you know, whatever I'm working on. But mixing personal and my mission it just works beautifully for that reason, because most people that follow me, they're really there for personal reasons.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, like, when it comes to Facebook, is people talking about it the most important number for you to measure?
Well, it shows that I don't have fake likes. That's the one thing. It shows that I'm interacting with people. Yeah, I find that they're like 2 weeks behind on the stats, which is really annoying, because like when I posted that Hasidic bride with a face, like the likes went like through the roof in the shares, and I was like, show me the money. So yeah, it's a sign for me that when I go away, when I was in Israel over Passover, I saw those go down, and I was like, okay, not every moment has to be work. But yeah, it's a sign that the stuff that I'm putting out there is working.
So what do you think is what's the percentage that makes you
happy?
Like 10% of all your Facebook follow base?
Oh, so on average, so right now we're at like 6,600 likes, and on average we have about 1,200 people talking about this, 1,300 people talking about that.
20%.
Something like that. That's an average. If we start to get below that, if we drop below 1,000, I'm like, get funny, get clever, kids do something worthwhile to mention. So, you know, yeah. So that's sort of my. I never even like did the numbers like that. Again, it's not like I'm sitting and like studying the studies, but like somehow I found that like as long as I'm feeling like on point, the most annoying thing about feeling like that Facebook is sort of, you know, keeping the fans from the mission message is that I see the same content that I was putting out before, and I'm like, I'm just as clever and funny as I was before, and it's not getting out there, and that's annoying because you're getting your mission out to less people. Yeah.
How much time do you spend on that?
Ooh, I quit on Shabbat, so.
What was the question?
How much time do I spend on Facebook? So I post, I don't know, 4-5 times a day on average. Yeah, I post a lot. Recently, a couple people said that I was posting too much for them, but then everyone was like, no, post more. So I was like, I'm listening to this group, not that group. Look, if you post too often, it might turn some people off, but if the posts are worthwhile, if you're making someone laugh, if you're sitting on your Facebook news feed and someone just wrote something funny and you smile, you're not going to be like, oh, you're so annoying, you said something funny an hour ago. You're going to be like, oh, I just smiled again, or I was inspired again. So if it's worthwhile content, then I don't think it should be like 100 times a day, but if you can find, if there's exciting news, like just met with the producer and they're talking about a show, then like everyone's like, oh, well, you know. Sometimes I have this problem I do, which I can't do too much. I'm like, something really big is about to happen, but I can't tell you. And so I found that like that's not such a useful post because they're like, okay, you're not really telling us anything. So yeah, I think if it's good, then post it. Every so often I'll tell the fans, like, you know, it's your support that's gotten us this far. Like, you know, you're the ones that are making this mission happen. You're the ones that are carrying this message. Like, without your support and your, you know, being committed to this, then we wouldn't be able to get this out there.
Do you start your day by like you're still in bed and checking likes on your phone, and then you're going to bed?
It's down. The computer's downstairs. I wake up and I pray first in the morning. That's my to sort of get it back to the larger picture, and then I usually deal with children and diapers and that sort of thing. And once, I usually wait like sometimes as we're doing breakfast, I'm checking. You know, it's good to set boundaries for yourself because there are no boundaries. You know, like. I remember I posted one time, like, the commuting time is amazing for my job. The only problem is that, like, you know, it never goes away. So for me, honestly, Shabbos is, like, such a savior in that way because I prove that I'm not addicted. And it just sort of, I know my kids appreciate it. I don't want them to be the therapist one day and be like, Mommy liked Facebook more than she liked me. So, you know, it's, you have to sort of keep it, I think one of the reasons that we're connected so much is sort of that fear of missing out. Like I was on my iPhone one time and I got an email from Kuwait. Hi, I'm a Muslim from Kuwait and I just want to tell you that like, there's so many things we have in common and your mission speaks to me and we have to stop judging each other. And I was like, world peace, you know, like, and so my baby just like had a dirty diaper. So like what felt more exciting in that moment? But it has to be a balance of kind of, you know, where you are. You had a question before? Yeah.
So much of developing an audience and followers and fans on social media is creating relationships with them. So I was wondering if you could say a little bit about your strategy of both reaching out to people and developing relationships and also maintaining a distance. And you spoke about you're kind of this Twitter snob and that you don't follow everyone back. Right. And like following everyone back on Twitter isn't even like the most destructive thing that you can do in your social media life. So I was wondering if you could just address that.
So because, you know, I sort of see Jew in the City as maybe like a first look into people dabbling in, you know, Orthodox Judaism or possibly learning more. if people want to, learn more or get connected with a class or go in a program, then I'm very excited to help, refer them to something local. So certainly at the beginning when it was smaller, I was messaging people offline all the time and like, oh, I've got this friend over there and you can do Shabbat with them and there's this great program over there. And it's gotten to a certain point where as sort of the persona gets bigger and sort of I get out there more, and I'm at the Israel Day Parade and people stop me to take a picture with them on the street, and I'm going on the plane to Israel and the woman next to me is like, you look very familiar. I'm like, okay, here it is. And the crazy thing is that like as a kid I wanted to be a celebrity, and now that it's started to happen, it's actually like freaking the heck out of me because like, oh, like you can't shut this thing off. Like you just go to the kosher store and everyone's staring at you, and oh, like how did that happen? So I am being like a little more cautious now of how I'm interacting. Like there's this guy, this Orthodox guy that like wrote to every email account and he friended me and he was like, I want to be your friend. And so I had one of my assistants answer it. I was like, I think we're going to do some, interference here. How do I get this email to What's Allison's direct email? Oh, I'm sorry, she's traveling now. Can I help you? Well, it's a personal message for her. Oh, I'm sorry, Allison doesn't actually do that right now. So I don't want to necessarily give access to every last person out there. I guess if I see the person's normal and not a stalker or not like weird, then I will reach out to, I'm more comfortable to reach out to them without them trying to come to me. It's a hard balance because I'm seeing the more that I'm getting out there and the more success that I have. Like when we did this All-Stars video and I'm sitting with Alex Claire and Joe Lieberman, suddenly everybody wants to know how I can help them get to Alex Claire and Joe Lieberman. And so I'm sort of seeing that, the more that you have success, the more people kind of just like want to sort of jump onto your success with you, and it's a fine balance. I still try to help the people like sort of part of the mission, but I'm also having like interns and part of our staff handle that stuff as well. I can't interact with the people quite as much as I used to. I will on the page. Like Maya Bialik, for instance, just sort of like got off of her comment section of her Facebook page because people were so crazy sometimes, and sometimes the comment sections just get so hostile and like so negative that it's not good to be so connected like that.
I mean, I tell her this a lot, but
yeah.
She's also missing a lot. She's missing a lot of positive energy.
It's
and
true.
Thank yous and a validation and all of that. So that is the.
So I'll tell you, you know what? Yes, and it's not like I've gotten out of the comments section, but what I will tell you is that there was this great oatmeal cartoon, comic strip. There we go, where he showed. This is what I look like after 10,000 positive messages, and he's like on top of the world and smiling, and then he shows the picture next to it, one negative message, and he's like crouched down with like a dagger in his chest. And so like for all the positive feedback you get, the one person that just sort of, and so I think positive feedback is good, interaction is good, but like also sort of protecting yourself from just sort of being someone's punching bag. Another thing that I'm seeing is that as you get more successful and sort of, do bigger and better things, people want to take you down, and they kind of want to sort of rip that success apart. It comes from different motivations. And so I think there has to be a balance of just sort of, people, will email me, oh, is your talk the other day? I'd love to call you now. And the woman had asked me like a weird question in the Q&A, like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you access to myself like that. Like there needs to be a way to protect yourself. Okay, so I think.
Quickly, I just wanted to ask you, so you mentioned you've got interns and a staff.
Yeah.
What is that? How many people are you talking about here?
So we have like a few paid people. Like we have the video guy who edits the videos and films the videos, who we raise money or get sponsorship money to make the videos, and a webmaster who doesn't cost much. And then everyone else is a volunteer. A graphic designer. We just brought a rabbi in who's answering some email questions. An intern who's moderating the blog and the YouTube comments. Another intern who is managing a Tumblr page and a Pinterest page, another one that's editing our YouTube vlogs now, more of like the low-tech ones. Probably have a team of about 10 people. When it was first starting off, nobody cared to help or volunteer. About 3 years ago, I got the first volunteer who was as she could volunteering. Again, as I sort of rode out that longer part of like, a friend told me like about a year ago, just between you and me, a few years ago, we didn't think this was going well, Allison. We were all talking about this. We just thought you were crazy. And then sort of like, as I sort of like, stayed the course and things, got more and more out there and more success, then people want to be involved more and more. We get more requests for help and volunteers than we even have places to put people, honestly. That's not to say that everyone is like super qualified in their field. Something I did recently, which I would recommend, is like, if you don't ask, it's a definite no. If you do ask, then it's only a possible no. There's this rabbi that I know that is just so fabulous at explaining difficult concepts in easy to understand terms. It's just like, and that's what he does. And he creates content for like a major Jewish website. And he sent me his stuff free before. I'm super impressed by it. Like, and I thought, like, would he ever possibly like get involved with us and like help answer more of these emails than I can handle? And I was scared to ask him, and I was like, you know what the heck? It's the definite no if I don't ask him. I asked him, he's like, I would love to. Thank you so much for bringing me on board. And like, I just gave him like a whole hunk of work of unanswered emails that I was like feeling really guilty about. And so, and he's thrilled to be involved. And it was such an important lesson for me that like, if you don't ask, it's definitely a no. And don't settle for like mediocre help. Like, why not try to get the best of the people that you know and see if they can give a little bit of their time if they believe in what you're doing in your mission and your cause. Okay, I think I got the like stop talking now lady thing before. So thank you for listening.